espero que nadie se ofenda, pero hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo.
Só nós sentimos assim. Por muito desgosto que possamos ter, valores mais altos se levantam. O valor mais alto que se levanta em termos futebolísticos chama-se Benfica.
Good evening, boys. Welcome to another episode of Who Can Think podcast. We got slim crew here today. Jason or Tank wasn't able to make it, and Jay, Porto fan, was supposed to join us. He's running late, or maybe he decided he didn't want to put us through some misery. I don't know, but he's not here yet, so we'll see if he arrives. Don't need a graphic for topics because there's only one topic today, which was the Porto game, Supertaça, which, unfortunately, we come out losers again. 11 of 12, to be exact, that we've lost against them. There's a lot to talk about. So I think with the three of us, it gives us an opportunity to get in a little bit more detail. And those of you who are watching, feel free to jump in the comments if you want to jump in the podcast. We have a slot. I can send you a link. You can jump in, share your thoughts, your opinions, your frustrations, whatever it may be. Oscar, I'll start with you. Actually, I'm going to start with Kenny since you showed up after Kenny. Give me your overview of the performance. And I'm going to also throw in a question there. Do you think that Benfica losing this, I think both teams, in my opinion, I think both teams may have been impacted negatively with a negative result. More so Benfica, I thought. Do you think that losing this now creates issues for Benfica going forward, or do you think it's one-off, it's done, it's past us, we can recover?
Yeah, so I think this game, if we had won, would be more beneficial for our morale than if we had lost. So losing the game, I mean, it extends what we've already been talking about, right? There's nothing has changed. It is what it is. We've talked about this every week. So I don't think it hurts us even more. It just keeps us at the same level. Whereas if we had won, I think it would elevate the morale of the team and maybe give us like more of a, hey, you know what, we can compete with Porto. We played well where we didn't. This game, I want to just take a step back. So I listened to the Portuguese version of the podcast, and one of the guys, I think it was Pedreira, he mentioned how like Porto coming into these games with Benfica, they come in with like a fighting attitude, like they're coming to war, and Benfica typically doesn't. And I think it proved again today. You saw it right in the beginning of the game. Pep was waving or getting in Darwin's face, and Bemba's, wagging his. They emotionally were in the game. And right after that Darwin incident, right, I think Darwin fouled him like right after, and he's helping Pep up. Like, I hate that. For me, and I know these guys are professionals, and I just, the new players on the team don't have that emotion. Without the fans, even more. They just don't feel the same fight for the game. So again, Porto comes out, strong, and I don't think Porto played all that much better than Benfica. They just, they got the PK, and scored, and then Benfica really, I think the only chances that I can like really remember were the free kicks. Other than that, I don't even think we had many other opportunities.
We had the Grimaldo one right after the goal. I think the key piece is, and Jorge Jesus said it in his press conference after the match, we have two plays in the first 20, 25 minutes that if they are handled differently, the game could be different. Rafa has 2 plays that he breaks out and we go on a counterattack and we have a 2-on-1 basically.
Mm-hmm.
And both times he makes the wrong decision, which I think we've talked about in the past is his weakness, right? He creates a lot of chances because of his speed, but more often than not, he decides to make the wrong decision, whether that's in finishing, whether that's in passing, right? That play that he had to Darwin 2-on-1, right? If he takes that and makes the defender commit, right? They have 30 yards behind, right? And it's Pep. Like knock it around him, you're gone, right? And instead he makes the pass and Darwin ends up getting caught off sides, right? You got an experienced center back there, right? Make him commit. He's either going to follow you, get a red card, or you're gone. Like he's not going to catch you, right? That's the reality of it. He decides wrong. But as a whole, kind of, I know that you said you didn't think Porto was better than us. I think they were more efficient. But what was kind of your overall? What do you take away from this?
Well, I just think, what do I take away from this? I mean, a lot of what we've talked about in the past, right? I still think that this team lacks a lot of quality on the field. You see all the comments online. A lot of people blame Jesus, but Jesus doesn't. It's not his fault. Today we were limited, right? Gabriel's out. Pizzi had the COVID thing. He has to play Tarat. I thought coming in, and I said this last time, this was a good opportunity for Tarat to show something. And I don't even want to talk about him. Like, he literally was trash. He couldn't put a pass together. And then, Rafa, who was probably our best player on the field, is like, oh, no Pizzi today, I'm going to take a day off. Like, he looked like he was doing nothing today. He didn't have his boy there, Pizzi, and he just prancing around the field. So it's just frustrating. Like, I don't know what the motivation level on the team is. I think there's definitely quality missing, and it's just more of the same old.
Oscar, give me your analysis, and then give me your opinion of Otamendi's performance.
All right. First off, I'm going to start with, like everybody else, I'm so disappointed in this team. I looking at the game, I line up, I'm like, all right, we have a solid lineup starting. That's the best we could probably put on the field is what we started with. And then I'm like, all right, if we go down, who do we have that can come in and change the game? And we have nothing. And at the beginning of the season, we're like, oh, yeah, Porto's going to struggle because they lost Danilo, they lost Alex Telles, they have no depth. Those guys had starters coming off the bench. And we had Diogo Gonçalves, Seferovic, and Tavares to win a game against Porto when we're losing 1-0. That's our depth. And Benfica, at this point, when we wasted the most money ever, our depth is Tavares, Sef, and Diogo Gonçalves coming in to win a game when we're down 1-0.
Pedrinho too, no?
Pedrinho came in too, yeah.
That's embarrassing. To me, that's like I said again. I'm gonna put the blame on the coach. We had players that left. Salvio left. Vinicius left.
Salvio didn't leave this season. Salvio left last season.
Dude, this players that we
Salvio asked to leave. He didn't just leave.
Because other players were starting over him.
But his mom was sick. That was most of the reason he wanted to.
We spent so much money to have
I don't disagree.
We spent so much money to have a team like Luka today. We spent 20 million on him on a big game. I wish Tank was here because I wanted to talk about big time and big game players. We have Luka and Darwin. Where's big time and big game players? Where are they? I didn't see him today.
I would say Luka was more of a disappointment for me than Darwin. I think Darwin didn't really get much service, but Luka had a couple of plays in between lines that he just, again, poor decision making. He lost the ball cheaply.
Not only that. What about I know Rafa gave Darwin that pass. He was offside. But you see Darwin's touch? What if he was on?
Rapist touch.
Yeah, he would have lost it. Yeah,
he would have lost it. That would have been a goal.
Yep.
That touch was horrible. For a 2-on-1, if he was on, he would have missed that chance anyway. So we can blame Rafa for a bad pass because Darwin would have missed it.
No, I agree. The second part of it, the first part of it is poorly decided, but the second part, the touch is bad as well.
It's horrible. It's horrible for a striker. That's our $25 million striker.
Size 13, dude.
That right there shows a lot about him. Like, that's a big time player. That we need a big time player in that situation. We need that goal, and if he's not offside, he misses it. So And then, like Kenny said, we only opportunities we had was the free kicks and the Grimaldo shot off a freaking this impossible angle that he had an unbelievable shot and Marches and saved it. But other than that, we had nothing. We didn't create. And I told you guys at the beginning, our luck would run out. With our performances against a big team, we would see how our luck would run out. And look what happened. We didn't. I would have been okay. Fine. I think there's a foul on. I personally think there's a foul on Rafa in the first PK. If they reviewed it back to the when Rafa megged the guy and then he got blocked, I think that's almost like a definition of obstruction right there. Like he put the ball over the defender and he basically got blocked. So to me, that's a foul. If the VAR saw that, they would have came back and made a foul against Porto. Instead, they get a PK to Porto. It's a PK, and if anything, that could have been a red card for Audi. What do you guys think about that?
No, he's going away from goal.
It's
he hits it towards the goalie,
and if he passes,
but there's a defender there. There's a defender behind Audi already.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
I can't remember if it was Vertonghen or Otamendi, but they were at the edge of the 6 at that point.
Well,
he touches it. He goes way wide. I think if he's going in on goal, I think it's a red card, but he's going way wide.
Yeah, because he tries. He pulls
the thing about that penalty pisses me off. The thing about that penalty that pisses me off is that is your typical striker penalty where he knocks the ball away. Like he's going way far away from goal and literally just waits there for the contact and he goes down.
That's a PK.
It's a penalty. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Stone cold PK, but just the way that he wins it pisses me off because it's like your old school, like wait for the contact.
To me, the thing is, like, I would be really, really upset. To me, that pissed me off because I thought it was a foul on Rafa, right? That pissed me off. But other than that, we have to give it up to Porto. They deserve to win. They had the most chances. They created the most chances to win this game. We created the free kicks, that's all, and then the Grimaldo shot. That's all.
What would you say in the first, before the penalty, what was your perception of the game? Because I thought, up until that penalty, I thought we had those 2 plays with Rafa that we broke out. I think the game looked in control. I don't think either team looked good. And then I guess apart from that question, I'll ask another question. I think we can agree that may have been one of the worst clásicos that I think we've seen in a very long time on both sides, I would say. Do you guys agree with that?
I agree with that. It was poor football, poor soccer. That it was on both sides. The balls they were losing. Was like Messi and Vintage. Like Tabarat kept giving the ball more to the other guys than he did to his own players. I'm like, it was like a legit like a playground. I'm like, are they like just trying to like have a practice going on right now?
That's what it felt like. Yeah.
Like even at I'm used to seeing the Clásicos. Like remember the Paulinho Santos and João Pintos going at each other and the game. Bruno Alves against our forwards is like just hacking each other. Today I saw that a little bit of Pepe and then even Otamendi out of all the Benfiquistas, Otamendi was the one sticking it to Porto.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what that's a culture that Porto is from, and that's what I missed. I wish Benfica had is like aquela garra. And Otamendi is the only Benfica player on the field today that showed it.
But that's the thing, and we talked about it yesterday on the Portuguese podcast, and I'll get you guys' opinion on it. But growing up, we always talked about Porto being, and I'll use the word, and for the lack of a better word, right, uma equipa suja, right, duros, right, com raça, com garra, but like it's one of those types of play where they'll do anything they can to win, right? I think we saw it again today. Every foul, they were yelling and screaming, right? Whether it was for them, whether it was against them, pressuring comes from the ref, comes from the players, comes from the bench, right? Everyone on the bench is up in the air, right? And that's just their DNA, right? And on the Benfica side, we like to pride ourselves that we're not like that, right? We're not sujos a jogar. We're, more calm. We like to do things right? That's the perception that we try to play. But then when it comes to games against Porto, we almost want the team to like turn on the switch and be like, okay, we're playing Porto. Now we need to discard our DNA and what we build our principles on. And now we want you guys to go out there and get rough and dirty and play their style. And I feel like it's difficult to turn that mindset on for one game. Like either you have it or you don't.
I don't think it's difficult. I don't think that's difficult at all. I mean, just think about when you're playing a final versus a regular season game. Like playing you have to have that adrenaline going into a final. This is not only against Porto, but it's also a final. It did not look like Benfica was playing a final. I mean, that's a big part of the frustration because
But Ken, one thing you got to understand. Out of our lineup, our 11, nobody's been there for a Clásico other than 2 or 3.
I know that is a problem. Yes.
So nobody in that lineup knows what the Clásico is all about. They showed up like it's a normal game. They don't know the history of the Clásico. Out of those guys, like more than half are like guys that just came this year for the league.
Yeah. So from the ones that started, Grimaldo, Otamendi's been on the other side of it.
But I'm talking about on our side.
I agree, Oscar. I agree.
Dimos and Weigl.
And then you compound that with not having the fans there. It's a big problem. I think not having the fans there either doesn't help build that mystica around Benfica because that is part of it. So yeah, no, I totally agree with you.
I think. But I get like playing against Porto. Like if you can't self-motivate when you play against Porto, then there's a whole other problem, right? Like there should be no reason why a coach or someone in the dressing room should have to motivate you for a game like this. But I think the motivation and the wanting to compete is one thing, and that extra level of competitiveness I think comes from within the player themselves, right? Like how many players on Benfica do you see that, will roll their sleeves up and get down in the trenches and get dirty, right? When it comes to when it gets tough, right? Not many, right? Like we're all very soft type players. Again, Otamendi today, right? Getting an argument with Sergio Oliveira, right? For a guy that has been crucified, for him to stand up and say present in this game, I said it yesterday in the podcast, said it on Monday. If there was a game for him to establish himself on Benfica, it was this game. Right, like it's either make or break. Right, everyone's on your shoulders. Conspiracy theories, people giving you criticism. If there was a game to show up, it was this one. And of everyone on that field, I thought Otamendi stood out to me. I thought Weigl played well, and I mean Grimaldo, Gilberto. I'll say I don't think
Gilberto played well. I like Gilberto.
Going forward, he still doesn't give us enough. But defending, I thought he looked decent. He looked better on the ball than he has in the past. But with that, I want to jump into Taarabt. Right? For me, I thought Taarabt looked good in the first half. In the second half, he was a nightmare.
Mess. And I think Porto, I think, was putting a little bit more pressure. And he's a guy that wants the ball at his feet, and he needs time. And when he doesn't have the time, he loses it, and he gives it away cheaply. I thought Taarabt was another player that you were saying who's gonna get dug in there, right? I think Taarabt is one of those players that'll get put in a hard challenge, but he's just not that good. I mean, at the end of the day, he's not that good. He's just.
He had a couple of good individual plays. He had a couple of good passes, and that's what he gives you. But the thing is that in 2 good passes, he'll give you 7 bad passes, and that's the
danger zones.
Danger zones.
Exactly, that's the problem.
The negative far exceeds what he can bring to the team.
Yeah, I mean, offensively on the last third of the field, he was having some good plays. I saw him getting away from some of the defenders and like breaking away, but. Then he has to shoot. He always passes it wide. Like we don't have guys that cross the ball, so why the hell are you going wide? Like nobody crosses the ball on our team.
Well,
like,
no, go ahead. You can finish your point.
No. Go ahead. I mean, it's.
Well, I was gonna say he did try 2 shots that were blocked, but that's again Porto closing in those spaces. That they do that well. Like it. Yeah, I think it was Taarabt. I think he hit both of them.
Yeah, like 2 or 3.
Yeah, and they were both blocked before they even entered the box. That's another thing that we don't do that well. We don't close down those spaces as quickly as Porto did in this game.
No, we looked completely disorganized. I don't know what the hell they do during the week. I don't know what they practice. I don't know what they put together. All I know is that we come into these games and it's not like it's like against Porto. Oh my God, Porto's a good team, so let's give them a break. It's week after week, and I've been saying this week after week. We've been winning these games by 1 goal, or playing the cup game against Villa Franquense and win 5-0. Those games that like they kind of give you a mindset that Benfica is doing all right because the pontuação, but it's a matter of time before the team runs out of luck. And this is what comes after the luck runs out. Is like we can't win by skill or by benefit. We just win by luck. And it's very scary to go forward like this.
So, but Oscar, let me ask you this, right? I know you're hard on Jesus, but do you really think there's more that Jesus could pull out of these players? Like for me, I just think there's lack of quality on the team. I don't think a lot of the players on Benfica would start on Porto right now.
I'll tell you one thing. Porto was running out of low on money this season, right? They didn't spend close to being as much as Benfica. Is that correct? No. Look who they got. They got the left back from the Zaidu. That guy owned Everton or right Rafa. Okay, so and that guy came from what team did he come from? Santa Clara. All right. So why are we spending 20 million or 15 million on these guys? I don't know how much Gilberto cost when we had these guys in Porto. Maybe. Like that's what I mean. But Benfica didn't have to spend all this money to get mediocre players. We can get those mediocre players for a lot cheaper in Portugal. Porto did it. Porto didn't have money to spend, and they did it. Now those players are putting the starters from last year in the bench for Porto.
Yeah.
So
what I don't.
So I blame him for that for going to for what.
Well, but he didn't. I mean, he brought in a couple players. I don't think all those transfers were all his.
The money for Luka.
Like Waldo, I don't think Waldo was his. Waldo was already in talks to come.
Waldo had to. I can't believe that the only one that wasn't his was Pedrinho and Elton Late. Pedrinho came last year.
How is Waldschmidt on Jorge Jesus' radar? There's no way he's on Jorge Jesus' radar.
Luis Figueiredo was talking to Jorge Jesus already in March. There's no way. I can't convince myself that Jorge Jesus was like, yeah, I'm going to come, right? And they went and signed Waldschmidt without saying, hey, we're going to sign this guy, right? I know Elton Late wasn't his signing, but I can't imagine that he would have not decided yes or no for that.
I don't know. I don't see how that player is going to be on Jesus' radar. I just don't. I mean, I could be wrong, but
hey, that guy, no matter what, if you cost about $20 million, right? 20 million euros. So he's given us a few goals. He's given us a few performances. Then last minute winner, not too long ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
The last minute against Maritime, I believe, right? So you have to. He's not a bad player, but for 20 million, we can get those players in the league and from other teams like Guimarães and the teams that are coming up, right? On Braga, whatever it is. Those players exist in our league. So yes, I blame Jesus. Yes, I blame Jesus for not having depth because they spent the most money ever in Benfica this offseason. So yes, I blame him for not having depth.
Jay just joined us. Let me bring him in here.
Get this kid out of here.
Yeah, seriously.
You have a banana for him?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
No,
yeah.
Can't hear you.
Give us your perspective of the game. What did you see?
Listen, don't worry. I'm not going to gloat here. I think the game was overall pretty pathetic from both sides. We didn't see much of the Porto-Benfica rivalry. I think it was just like it looked like two average teams playing, and I think the better team got the result. That's really all it was. I mean, there wasn't any feisty big tackles, any controversial, there was very minimum, I should say, controversial stuff. I thought overall the ref did a good job. I mean, wow. There was probably a couple calls that probably should have gone either way, but I mean, you can't really complain about the ref. It was overall a pretty clean game.
Jay, do you think that was a foul on Rafa on the
no.
PK? How is that not a foul? Every time you got fouled like that, you called for ref.
Because you got to yell, you got to get up.
Yeah, exactly. I was just you took the words out of my mouth.
But with this VAR technology, they should have gone back to review that kind of thing. You have to review the whole play.
Benfica players don't yell. Porto players yell.
Dude, look, it looks like he gets the ball, but again, it's the angle that the ref is in, right? If the ref
I
is
know,
from
but
a good
it's
angle,
VAR.
yeah, but it's not like a mistake.
It is a mistake. It's a goal. It happens to PK out of it.
That was like, I understand what you're saying, and I get it. I just don't think it's worthy of going back to change the call.
Penalty not worthy going back. When is they worthy going back?
But Oscar, the part you're missing is the ref didn't think it was a foul.
Right, but the VAR should have seen it.
Right, but if VAR says, "Hey, go check it," even if he goes checks it, he's not going to change his mind because he didn't think it was a foul. Like VAR can't change your decision. VAR is just going to tell you, Oscar, you made a mistake. Go look at it. Or
Right.
Oscar, you probably made a mistake. Go look at it. But they're not going to change the decision.
They won't, but they have told the ref, "Hey, you probably missed this. Go check it." And the VAR, and because the game is stopped because of the penalty kick, they have to go check it. And if
Right. So are you happy?
Say yes or no.
Are you happy if he stops the game after the PK goal? He goes and checks it, and then he says no PK.
After the foul on the PK on the box, which is a foul, I give it to you. It's a foul.
Yeah.
Fouled him. All right. But once he blows the whistle, that's the game stops. Right. That's when it stops. You don't take the PK. You go review the play before the foul because that's when
I get that.
And they should have reviewed it because there was a potential foul on the other side. And guarantee the ref thinks he touched the member touches the ball. But if he goes and reviews it and sees that Rafa chipped the ball over his leg and he got blocked, that should have been a foul.
So you see a chip over Mbemba's leg. I see Mbemba got the ball.
But you should see it in slow motion.
I personally think there was no foul there.
But Oscar, what if the ref is doing this? Hey, the VAR is saying, "Ref, let it play on. Let's see what happens. We'll look at it." 10 seconds later, they call a PK. The VAR says, "Hey, you didn't miss anything. Keep going."
What I say is that how much fruit did they buy? For the
I don't even know if they checked the foul because the VAR they kept showing the offsides. So I don't even know if they actually went that far back in the play.
But
yeah,
the thing is,
I agree.
On every goal or penalty case in this case, they have to review the whole play leading up to that PK or a goal, right? That's the rule of the VAR, from what I understand, right? So for them not to review that potential foul, right? That's on the VAR. That has to be on the system, on the league. I mean, they have to kind of review that. The whole play leading up to the PK or the goal should be reviewed in case there's a foul.
Right, but I think you're not getting the point.
Oscar,
that maybe
your buddy's here, Oscar.
You just watch this, man. It's Christmas. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Once didn't go to third place, then you'll talk to him. Actually, invite him to the next play. Benfica Sport. Invite him into the podcast. Guarantee they're in fourth place.
Jay, who did you think was Porto's standout player?
Sergio Oliveira. I think he
Really? I thought he was quiet.
Yeah, but
firework.
He's a quiet guy. He regained possession. He made a couple crucial tackles. He made it, very rarely lost possession of the ball, and he was always involved in like the dangerous stuff, either making the pass or making that late run into the box. He was always involved. I mean, to my previous point, I don't think the game was like super outstanding. So like the outstanding player, there wasn't really many of those kind of things. But I just think he was like quiet. Hey, look, Salvio just drew a PK. That's the kind of guy you guys need right there.
Yeah.
You don't have this kind of guy right here.
Hey, if I right now I do an even trade with Everton and Salvio.
Yeah, you guys win that trade. Boca would tell you to go fuck off.
No way. What was your Oscar and Kenny? Who do you think was standout performer here?
Otamendi. He saved like 2 goals.
Now, to me, 100% Otamendi. There's no other player on Benfica that stood out more than Otamendi. Not only because the goals the bicycle that on the line almost, but there's crucial tackles inside the box that it would have been a goal. So Otamendi to me is all right. You know how I've been like the whole freaking theory that he's paid by Porto and that's why he gets all these reps. And
is that out the window now?
To me, that proved it today. It's cemented on the right here. I say it that Otamendi is our best center back
until he gives up another goal.
I got changed my mind right away.
Jay, I'll ask you this question. I asked them before you jumped on. Before the game, I thought that given the way the two teams have been playing, which I don't think they've been playing good, and I said it before, that may have been the worst Clásico that I think we've witnessed in a very long time, quality-wise. Do you think that Benfica obviously losing in this case, do you think that there's a psychological impact to Benfica, just like it could have been for Porto? But I thought going in, it would impact a loss would impact Benfica more than I thought it would impact Porto. What do you think? Do you think it's a one-off game, it's done, or it's gonna linger?
No, I agree. Psychologically, I think this is a big hit for Benfica because you bring in the coach that you guys all wanted, right? Some people don't.
No.
Listen. I'm not saying you guys, you Mikey, Kenny, Oscar. I'm saying in general, the Benfica public was super excited that JJ's back. I mean, he won a ton for you guys, so that makes sense. Then you bring in a bunch of players, you spend a bunch of money on a forward. The expectations for you guys are to win and win everything this year.
Yes. And Campeonato, that's 100%.
Yeah, 100%. And anything domestic it had to be Benfica's. That's just the way you guys attacked it this year. And losing this early a title to your obviously fierce rivals, I think that's psychologically a huge dent. Look, it could go both ways. I mean, we all play the game. So you either take it and run with it and say, fuck it, let's get better, or it lingers forever. And it could be a complete disaster for you guys. But considering we play in a couple weeks.
Exactly. But the thing for us is it's almost like a kryptonite. Like, I think that's 4 on the trot for Sérgio Conceição against Benfica, right? Like, I don't know what it is, but every time we play against Porto, before the whistle even blows, I feel like we're at a disadvantage straight away. I don't know if it's mental. I don't know if it's poor preparation. I don't know if it's I don't know what it is, but it just seems like going in, it's almost like we're scared. I don't know if you guys get that sense, Oscar and Kenny or Jay, even if you see it on the other side, but that's the sense that I see.
The only game that I think remembering playing against Porto that I went in with confidence.
You're going to say the same one as me.
The Eusébio game.
Yep.
And that's the only game I came in because the players we had at that time, that team, I would have gone into any single game in the league or outside our league, like Europa or whatever it was. And I went in with confidence so we could beat that team, right? That's the only time I went to. And right now, going into Porto, I was like, I've said it the whole week and the prior weeks on this podcast. I'm not going with confidence because I don't see our Benfica team playing to beat anybody, never mind Porto. Anybody. I don't feel comfortable about beating anybody. Going to Portimonense next week and they have like a losing record. Like last 10 games, they lost like 7 or 8.
I think they're home. I think we're home against Portimonense.
Yeah. Who cares about home? There's no fans. So like we're playing in the field. That's full on. So to me, it's like I don't feel confident about going into a game like Portimonense. That's bad. That's bad.
Kenny, what do you think the issue is here? Do you think it's psychological? Do you think it's the infrastructure? Do you think that the club doesn't pass down the importance and the meaning of this rivalry? Like, I don't, right? Like, at Porto, like from youth, right? You see it in the youth squads. We saw it this week, right? Sérgio Conceição's son, Paulinho Santos on the bench, right? Like, they have that fight, right? It's just embedded in them. I almost get the sense, like, within the infrastructure and the building up of this, it's almost like, again, there's no relaying of that message. Like, yes, I don't think it needs to be tribal in the sense of like, we hate those guys, we want to kill them, but like, this means a lot. Like, these guys got 22 Supertaças against us, or 22 Supertaças, 11 are against Benfica. Like, it's mind blowing. In 12 games, we've beaten them once in the Supertaça.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough to say what it is. I mean, they brought Luizão on the bench today. I think after the game, he had a little talk with the squad all together. Yeah. So
I saw something with him and Rui Costa. Was that like a little bit of bickering? Or?
They asked JJ after the game. He just said that he was explaining to the players, like, we're Benfica, this isn't good enough, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I don't know if
So-
that was the case, but
Yeah.
Wait, what happened after the game? What happened?
when they were in the circle, I don't know if it was before they got the medals or after, but Louison was like yelling. I don't think he was yelling at players specifically, but he was just yelling at the group.
Like
And
motivationally.
JJ said after the game he wasn't yelling. He was basically just saying like, we're Benfica. This isn't good enough. That wasn't good enough. Like we need to be better.
Yeah.
They need that. I think I pull these on the field today. That's how bad it gets. Put him in the field. You probably play better than those fuckers.
He's on a tear right now, huh?
Let's
But he's saying true things, right? Like,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
If meio campo nem defesa, like our meio campo,
It's true.
And Weigl, like I said, I thought Weigl was good again today, but he doesn't have someone to help him. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Taarabt in a two-man midfield does not work.
Nope.
He gives away too many balls, and then he leaves Weigl exposed. Like, what are you supposed to do with one guy when you got 2-3 guys coming at you? Like, it's impossible, right? Like, he's going to give up space. And then he's going to be – they target him immediately, right? It's his fault. Is it like – who's giving the ball away in transition that's then exposing him in those positions?
Yeah.
What the fuck is this guy doing?
I showing you the
that's
video. Oh, I didn't see that part. I only saw them talking.
He should tell that guy should be telling Jesus, "Vai pro caralho." That's the best. He told him, "Vai pro caralho." That's what he said.
That's what I saw. I don't know like the interaction.
If he did, I'm 100% with Luizão.
Can I ask you guys a serious question? Why is Rui Costa and Luizão on the bench? Like, what's the deal with that? What's that like?
Luizão was on the bench because Thiago Pinto is out with COVID, so he represented the infrastructure. Rui Costa is the vice president, but with Thiago Pinto leaving, the rumor is that Rui Costa and Luizão are basically going to kind of take part in that role that Thiago Pinto has today. So why they're on the bench, I don't know. I think
the fucking Portuguese league.
asked.
The Portuguese league has to cut the shit with that. Everybody that's in the Direção, get upstairs. The coach.
Remember the days when
players.
Pinto da Costa used to sit on the bench?
Holy shit, dude! I don't understand.
Bruno Carvalho used to be as
he used to sit on the bench
every
too.
Sunday would be like as missa no Banco do Sporting.
Dude, no other league does that. Like we're the only league that has the whole fucking infrastructure on our bench.
Hey,
they're all there to get the red cards when
log in every few minutes. Come on, I want to hear you.
I don't understand.
Pino wants to know who our six is. I think our six is, for me, our best six is Weigl. In the squad today is Weigl. But, like I just said, I think in a midfield too, it's very different, especially in a midfield too with Taarabt.
That's very old school though. Like two midfielders, 1-6, one plays a 10. You can't do that. It doesn't work.
The team that we have, our only 6 on the team is Samadi. That's the only 6. Everybody else is 8
6
or
too.
10.
Weigl's a 6.
Weigl's very similar to Samadi's. They're
Samadi's is the guy. Today in Porto, Samadi's gets a red card because nobody else thinks Raça. Samadi's goes in full speed.
Raça is different.
Yeah, and today we needed a Samadi's on the field.
Okay, so I'm not going to argue with that. That's true.
So, have you guys decided that Nunes sucks yet or not?
Nunes.
No. But listen, I'm going to ask you guys an honest question. I want you to answer it honestly. As a striker, I get it. He does a lot of great things off the ball. We all played, like, we understand. We watch the game. But if you're depending on him to make those runs into the flanks and create something, you need a 10 or you need another winger on the other side of the field or late midfielders coming into the box, very similar to what Sergio does for Porto.
Easy.
He plays deep, he gets into the box late, and that's like, the late runners are always a problem. If he's going to be dependent on making all those runs, who's getting into the box?
Well, that's the thing, and that kind of leans into the question I was going to ask. I think that Darwin has suffered a lot with the drop in form of Waldschmidt.
Yeah.
Early on in the season, they were clicking.
I'll be honest. I think Darwin lost a lot because he got COVID and he probably forgot how to play soccer.
So stupid.
I'll be honest. He starts.
You need-
I'll be honest.
He needs another and I'm only using him because we just watched him play, but you need another guy like Taremi there, like a big, tall, strong Oscar
We have one.
Cardozo type.
Seferovic.
Yeah, they should be playing the two of them. Go back to an old school 4-4-2. That's what Porto did.
They
We haven't
tried
lost
that.
since.
We're playing a 4-4-2, and it doesn't work because our midfield isn't there. We need to fix our midfield before we can worry about a old
do you
school
guys-
4-4-2.
But do you guys remember we played amazing soccer with Samaris and Gabriel the last year, the year that the Bruno Lage basically won the Campeonato. Okay, basically came back 7 points behind Porto and won it, right? Samaris and Gabriel.
But
That's
hold on,
the
you're missing a
midfield.
piece, though. There's an important piece in that team
João.
that we never replaced, João Felix.
Right. But we had John Felix and Seth up top. That's the team. That's the strikers we had, right? Jonas came off the bench at that time already. Imagine Jonas came off the bench on a team, on a team like we had. I couldn't believe it. Okay, so now we can't find a a Gabriel Samari's replacement with a team that we have 20 millions in each player, 20 million here, 20 million there.
That's the problem, right? Was the money spent correctly? And
So who do you guys blame for that? I did understand, but if Jesus was talking to them since March, don't you blame Jesus?
But Jorge Jesus isn't the one that pulls the trigger at the end of the day. Jorge Jesus can go to Luis Fiera and say, listen, I want these. Jorge Jesus wanted Ruben Smithu, and he didn't get him. Right? Jorge Jesus
He would
wanted
have got a red card. He would have got a red card today.
he would have kidnapped someone and gone to jail.
If Ruben Smith came up, then he wouldn't have come.
Right. It was one or the other.
Okay.
Right.
But that's what we wanted, right? He was forced with Otamendi.
But today, Otamendi is probably our best center back.
I get that. I'm not saying.
Vertonghen, whatever his name is.
I said that. I told you guys that from the beginning. Well, Vertonghen, I think, was already in the works. But what I'm saying is that, yes, Jorge Jesus has blame. I think he's been here 5 months, and we still haven't seen that team or what we were used to when he was here the first time around. But I also think that there's gaps in this team that need to be addressed and fixed. And I'm not sure if Jorge Jesus, we don't know what Jorge Jesus presented to the president, right? Jorge Jesus can go to the president and say, listen, I want these guys, right? The president turns around and said, but you're not going to get those guys. I'll give you these, right? At the end of the day, he's not the ultimate decision maker. We don't know what happens behind closed doors. But with what he has, I would expect a hell of a lot more than what we're seeing, especially today. I mean,
I couldn't agree more. I am shocked that how bad the Classico was and how bad you guys are playing with the quality of players that are supposed to be on your team. How bad you guys are right now.
What quality of players? Tell me a quality of player that we had.
Dude, all the guys you brought in are good players.
It's good.
They're supposed to be good players. Let me say that.
Where have they proven themselves?
I understand that, but this was their chance to prove themselves.
When people say you guys got in good players, I want to say, where have they been proven? Okay, let's talk about Weigl. Did he prove himself? In Dortmund, did he prove himself there? Because he was riding bench.
Hold on.
Early.
Weigl's a German international, and he left Dortmund. He left Dortmund because he didn't want to play center back.
Yeah, why do you have to play center back? Because
they didn't have center backs.
No, because they all got injured, dude.
What are you saying?
And then we got Gilberto. Where has he proven himself?
I don't disagree with that one. I most of the Brazilians, I know coaches in the chat, and he said he was terrible.
We got Everton for 20 million. Where has he proven himself?
Everton was nasty. Everton played for the national team, dude.
You could say that about anyone then. Unless they're coming from Real Madrid or Barcelona, you could say that about anybody.
But other players don't cost 25 million.
That I agree with. Listen,
That's
hey,
fine.
if you guys want, I'll give you Taremi. You give me Everton.
No, no. You have to understand. When you put a price tag on a player that costs 20 plus, especially our most expensive transfer ever, they have to have been proven players.
Yeah, they have to be stars in the league.
For the Portuguese league, you can't go and spend 25 million on a player that might be good. You can't. Benfica doesn't have capability of paying 25 million for a player that might be good in 10 years.
Players coming from outside. That's, I mean, not 25 million, but the prices have gone up. I mean, it is what it is. You're gonna have to spend money for players from outside the league. I don't disagree. I know I don't disagree with you. If you're gonna pluck players from the Portuguese league, then that's one thing. But if you're going outside the Portuguese league, you're gonna, even in Brazil now, you're gonna have to spend money to get those players. It's not going for 7-8 million anymore. You're gonna have to spend 15, 20 million for a player outside the Portuguese league.
Wait,
but every transfer,
that question on the screen, where has Pizzi proven himself? He's our highest scoring midfielder for the Benfica. Where else you need from him? You need him to make cakes for everybody during after the game or before the game. He's our best midfielder. Has been our best midfielder for the last 5 years. Where else he has to prove?
Pizzi makes a big, obviously, clearly makes a big difference today. You can see it on the field without him how big of a difference it is.
But in terms of buying proven players, right? I get spending that much money on players. Every purchase is going to be a risk, right? Some more than others, right? But if you're looking to bring players into Benfica that have proven themselves somewhere at a decent level, it's not going to be cheap. Right, like where would you consider proving yourself? Right, bringing someone in from the EPL, someone in from.
I don't think Benfica should be paying for those players. They should be like they've been in the past, like João Felix, or like players like Porto's got in Zaidu. The guy's going to be a 40 million player going away from. What did they get him for? 3 million, 4 million.
That's
from
fine.
Yeah, but you're saying Zaidu because you saw him play today. We talked to Jay about it the other day, right?
We've been talking about this player for the last part. Even Jay brought up last game. He's probably their best left back.
Yeah, but in comparison to what they have at their disposal, right? Do you think Zaidu is a player for Porto's level? Probably not.
Yes.
You think a player like Zaidu is a player for Porto's level?
What's he done wrong?
I'm not saying what's done wrong.
Still early.
But
I would say, like, the recruitment of him was good business for Porto, but I don't know. I don't actually know if he's like a good player, dude.
No,
he's the typical Portuguese mediocre team player that runs up and down, and does a bunch of good things. But did you see the pass he made today? Like, we could have gone down right there, and then the game could have been over.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Have you noted? You said it yourself. Like last game, Rafa's been our best player this season, right? Yeah. The most consistent best player. If Rafa didn't go in, he wasn't going anywhere without that right side.
Well, I mean,
unless he went in and went to the CBs, the center backs, he was not going anywhere down the line. Nothing. Zaidu had pocket.
Who was the asshole that just said I'm a closet Benfica fan? Hey, Mike, come over to my basement. I'll show you if I'm a Benfica fan. I have a couple dead Benfica bodies in the closet over there.
But yeah, again, every transfer is going to be a risk. It's tough to bring in players that are proven on a big stage for a decent, like, those guys aren't coming to Portugal realistically, right? Like, I think a big transfer like Everton, people can say, if he was good, he wouldn't come to Benfica. Like, we've said that about players that went to Porto and have gone to Sporting, right? But the reality of it is, a player coming from South America with high expectations, it's probably easier for him to have a stepping stone in Portugal, right, than going straight to an EPL, right? I think, okay, let me get my feet wet. And we noticed in Portugal, he's already struggled to adapt to European-style soccer, right? Now imagine if he went to the EPL for 25, 30 million and he got there and was a complete bust. And not to mention the whole citizenship thing, and they have rules around work permits and all that stuff, right? So it makes it a little bit more difficult. But I also don't disagree with you, Oscar, that I think recruitment, we've been crying out for positions for a long time. A 6, I think, ever since Matic left, ever since we lost an Enzo Perez, I don't think those guys have ever been replaced. We've been asking for a right back for a long time. We've been stuck with Ender Almeida, who I think is good enough for the Portuguese league, but I don't think he's a player that takes us to that next stage, right? And instead of we've been asking for a left back in case Grimaldo gets hurt, and we get stuck with Nuno Tavares in the 85th minute. But then on top of that, I'll ask another question, which I think is Jorge Jesus' fault. Why do we leave Servi out of the team selection?
Oh, I another one I want to rip him off for. Okay, keep going.
I don't know. There's got to be something, but there's got to be stuff that we're not seeing, right? There's got to be something there. It's either
Dude, it's either we bring in Tavares on the 85th minute to win a game or Servi. Is that even a question for Jesus even to have to answer? You could just fucking do it. How do you bring Jake? You're not a Benfica fan, but if you were a Benfica fan and you see Tavares is a joke of a player. The guy probably me with Moletas can play better than him, and I suck at soccer, right? So you see Tavares on the line on the sideline to come in on the 85th minute when we're down 1-0 against the rival Porto, right? And that's our option to win a game, to come and change the game up. Are you kidding me? That's our option, Tavares.
I think you guys are in for a very long season.
So that was my next question before we can close it out. How do you guys think, and Jay, he can tell us from the Porto perspective, but I'll start with Kenny. How do you think this loss, I guess, paints a picture for the rest of the season for us?
I mean, for me, it's the rest of the. I mean, it's for me. I like I said in the beginning. I don't think this game is going to affect Benfica all that much. I really don't, because I think a win would affect us in a more positive way than a loss negatively, because we're already it's more of the same thing. We're already at the we're not playing that well. We continue not to play that well. Nothing's changed. They just got to figure it out. Whereas if we had won, it would have been maybe more of an epiphany, like, hey, look, we can actually do this. We can figure it out. But right now, they still need to figure it out. And I think what it comes down to is in January, they're going to bring in more players. They have to. Me personally, there's not enough quality on the team.
Where are you guys going to get this money? You're not even in Champions League.
No, but I think Weigel's on the way out. I think Servi's on the way out. And I don't think we're gonna be spending money. I think it's gonna be a lot of like whatever people. I already saw Noticia something about players that are out of contract or
yeah, but that guy from Shakhtar is only for next season.
We need to pay 20 million to get William Carvalho. Period.
I would take him.
I don't think we're gonna be spending that kind of money. But
if William Carvalho's price tag is 20 million. Sell half the squad that we have there at Peña Feijões to get William Carvalho.
Dude, 20 mil for a 6, that is crazy for the Porto.
I don't think that's the move.
We need him.
You're gonna get the players on loan, right? Or Jedson and Florentino coming back. I mean, they might not be great, but at least they're new faces. They're familiar with the club. They're familiar with the league. So that might be something. But there's got to be new blood on the team, because the way these guys are just not doing it. But now for Porto, from a Porto perspective, I honestly didn't think they played all that well. Like Corona, Corona wasn't.
Corona's quiet.
Yeah,
Otávio, I forgot he was playing. Honestly,
they got so. The score could have been more, right? Otamendi saved. I think they saved us on 2 goals. The score could have been 2, 3 or 4. But I didn't think overall they played all that well either. So, but they're obviously better than Benfica. There's no question.
Oscar, how do you think this impacts us going forward?
Yeah, we continue to suck. When we'll suck for a long time until we get players that actually can play. That's the bottom line. We haven't even played to the like, hey, they might change our minds. We haven't, and it's been that since the beginning, day one. And I've been saying it from day one. We've been getting the results, but we're not playing for those results. We're just getting lucky and getting those results, scoring last minute goals, winning by tying up the last minute bullshit. That's gonna run out. We have been getting the results, but not playing to get those results. So I think it's until we get new players, like Kenny said, we're completely like, I'll toss it up in the air, and against anybody we play, it's a toss up. And I don't think we win against Portimão.
Just Just one thing.
Who the fuck they are? I don't give a shit. I'm pissed off.
Just one other thing. I mean, Jesus has exhausted everything at his disposal, right? Every player.
He also exhausted our bank account. Yes, I know.
No, but like he's tried different duplas up front. He's tried different duplas in the midfield. He's tried different center backs. He's tried a whole different combination of players. It doesn't work. It doesn't work because the players these aren't the right guys. At the end of the day, there's not enough solutions on this team right now, and the midfield is a big part of it.
Do you think Jesus is able to get the players that he has now to actually start playing?
Well, say that again.
Do you think Jesus is able to get the players he has now, the bunches that he has now, they spend like over 50 million on, to actually start playing like a team?
The players that he brought in,
that he has now, the players he has at his disposal right now, and this.
No, I mean he's had 5 months with them and he hasn't done anything.
The answer is no.
Yeah, he's had him for 5 months.
I agree with that. But do you think he's 50 million to play 50%, like he says?
He's not that kind of manager. Like he's a very stylistic. This is the way we want to play. This is the type of player I need in each position to play. Like the one thing that Sergio brought back to Porto was like the garra, like run through fucking walls every game, 90 minutes. If you don't do it, you're not going to play. And you can tell, like, I mean, just the way they celebrate, and he's out there with the players, like he's celebrating, he's jumping around, he's like younger than he actually is because he's part of that little like hub of like characters. You know what I mean? Like people doing. Jesus doesn't do that stuff. He's like a very regimented guy. He needs this kind of style of player, this kind of positional game. This is how we want to attack each. I mean, Sergio's more, this is the style we want to play, 4-4-2. You know, when we play against the bigger teams, we play a little bit more direct. We have two strong forwards up there. Hopefully it causes a problem. And you do everything possible to not get scored on. If that means running through somebody, getting a red card, that's what it means. We'll deal with it after. That's how Porto's always played, and I'm glad that that's where we're starting to see a little bit more. I'm just surprised Benfica isn't as good as I thought they were going to be. The league is wide open. I thought it was going to be Benfica by a runaway, and seeing what I see in January, I think the game's in Porto, right?
Yeah.
If we can get those 3 points, I'm going to start flopping my wings a little bit.
You'll be up by 1.
Yeah, but that'll be completely demoralizing. 2 games in a row against Porto, you lose.
And not only that, we already lost to Braga. We lost to Porto in the Taça. Supertaça. If we lose to Porto again for the league, I mean, that just means, you know, all the big games we lose. And not only lose, we lose them badly. Braga was, 3 goals? Porto mais 2.
And you're not going to have fans in Lisboa? Forget it. You guys might as well not even show up.
Let me be a Peppa guy one more time. We're not going to win a big game. A big game we can't win. We can't beat any good teams. I've said that from the day one. We wait until we play a good team and then put Pizzi and Gabriel or Pizzi and Weigl, whatever the tank said, to put in the midfield and see what happens. Today with Tabarat and Weigl, which are more defensive than Pizzi and one of those guys, look at that. We suck.
Yeah. To answer Jonathan's question here, do you guys still think Sporting's not a threat?
No, Sporting sucks. And like I said, Sporting's going to come to Christmas, and then they lose their best players, those guys up front right there, because Sporting's a mediocre team. They're like a middle team from the Portuguese league. They have to, they basically have to get rid of the players, the top players, right? Because they need the money, or else they have to pay.
Don't you like call yourself the realist? Like you're a realist with Benfica, but you're not a realist.
Okay, a realist is this. This is being a realist. Porto played us 30 times, beat us 16 times. Okay, out of 30 games, we won 7 and tied 7. That's being a realist coming into a Porto game. If we check the stats with Sporting is like the Benfica against Porto. Okay, so being a realist, Sporting doesn't scare me. Sporting's gonna come
dude, you're gonna eat your words, dude.
And let's go like this, and let's look up the last 10 years. All right. Sporting comes in ahead against Christmas. Oh my God, let's celebrate. Let's go take cars to the street. Let's go. We're going to pick up comboio com o cu português. And then comes February, and then third place, fighting with Braga for third place for entrar na Liga Europa.
this is this is all recorded, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Let them record it.
I think I think Sporting's gonna be a little bit tougher this year just because they have they're not really playing in anything else. They're strictly focusing on the in the league, and I honestly think that they probably have the best coach in the league. Now,
wow,
historically, they've always done this. They've led. They've done well. They played well early, and then just completely choked. I just think that they might be a little bit of a tougher out this year than normal.
I agree.
Just because they're not competing in other competitions. But I think
don't worry about it. We won't be competing for much longer, so we'll be in one competition too.
Man, Benfica ruined Oscar's Christmas.
Fuck, I already canceled Christmas. Christmas supposed to be at my house. My sister made all these fuladas and shit. She goes, "Okay, we're coming up today." I'm like, "Don't come."
Before we jump away, Jay, how do you think this game? I guess on the opposite side, what do you think this does for Porto, if anything?
Oh, I think it's the best thing that could have happened. We were beating Sporting and late gave up a tying goal. We could have been obviously ahead of everybody had we won that game because I don't think we would have lost the other two. I think for us going into the little break soon, I think this is massive. Porto just beat their biggest rival, won another cup. In the way that Sergio is coaches his guys, he's just going to tell them, "You see, we can do it. Now go beat them 2 more times this year, and you're a champion."
Hey Jay,
that's what he's going to tell them.
Hey Jay, make sure you know your stats because you lost to Marito before you play Sporting. So don't go ahead and hell yourself.
Okay, fine. I'm telling you, I think this result is severe for you guys and very, very good for us.
But Jay, let me ask you this: why so severe? Right? Benfica's still gonna win the little teams, and we're not gonna do good against the stronger teams, which is why. But that is exactly what we already knew going into this. That Benfica wasn't going to.
No. You didn't know it yet. That was a thought. Now you know it.
No, we knew it. Braga smoked us. I already was coming in. I already knew coming into that our luck was going to run out because we were playing all little teams. When we played some competition, this was likely going to happen. The best case scenario was if we won, then it would give us some encouragement. But losing, it just gives me what we already been talking about this whole season. We're not that good. So the little teams we're still gonna be fine. It's just gonna come down to that's it. We know where we stand with Sporting, Porto, and Braga. Where it's gonna be Sporting, Porto, and then Benfica, Braga is equivalent.
Benfica's gonna be fighting for a Champions League spot, is what you're saying.
Benfica will absolutely fight for Champions League spot.
Well, that's top 3.
Benfica and Porto are going to be competing for Campeonato. That's it.
No.
That's
what Kenny is saying is basically conceding the league already. You're not going to beat any of the good teams. You're going to beat the little teams. You're going to lose to the big teams. So and then you're saying that the league isn't ours.
Well. This wasn't for the league, right? But still, two of the four top teams, we already lost 2 of them. So we're already 50% losers. To the
one of them is a Supertaça, not the league.
One of them is Supertaça, but if you're going head to head, you're still.
I know you mean just played games.
Yep.
Played games. Yep. So I don't want to concede. I'm not saying that I want to concede, but look, I'm going to be the realist. Yeah, Benfica right now is 3rd.
No, to me, it all depends what happens in January. January is a big if on all teams. It could be.
And Mike, what's our schedule in January? Because it's loaded.
Yeah. So we play Portimonense at home. We play Santa Clara away. We play Tondela at home. We go to Estrela da Amadora for the Taça de Portugal. We go to Porto. We play Braga in the neutral stadium for the Taça da Liga. We play at home against Nacional. and then the last week of January we play Sporting away, and then we play Guimarães after that. So the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games, I think are going to be very telling for the, like, it's literally like make or break at this point. And hopefully by the time we get to the end of that phase, we're in a better position. But January is basically going to make or break us.
Absolutely.
We beat Sporting at the end of January, though.
Historically, the Portuguese teams never really do business in January. The only thing we do is sell. Like, you guys are really expecting to go fucking buy somebody?
Jay, they have to. They have to.
My point is that it all depends on what happens in January, because thank God in one way is Benfica is the only team in Portugal right now that is not in need of money. Porto and Sporting is, right? So those are teams that have to sell. So Sporting can have an awesome team up until January, but usually they let go of some of the good players in January when a big Europeo comes after them. I don't think Benfica will let go of anybody. I don't think they'll get. If anything, is to replace. All right, they'll let go of Weigl to get a William type of thing. They won't buy because or sell because they need the money. If anything, is just to replace a player here and there because they're not working out. All right, I think Sporting Porto are in a different situation. Porto has the financial problems that we all know about, and Sporting does too. Porto is a selling team. They don't want a team that have money to keep these players all year. Historically they haven't. So let's see what happens in January. That's my whole thing. Let's see what happens in January.
Tá bom.
Fair. Before we sign off, I want to have predictions here, so we can actually have two, because there's this next round of games will be interesting. So Sporting goes away to Belenenses, which I don't think will be an easy game. Benfica, or we'll do Porto first. Porto goes away to Guimarães, which will be a tough a game there. Guimarães is fifth with 19 points, so 3 points back from Porto, who's in third. Jay, since you're here, what do you think that prediction is going to be a good game?
Probably 2-0.
For Porto?
2-0. Yeah, 2-0 win for Porto. There's no chance that we lose that game.
Okay. This is recorded.
No chance.
I say 1-1.
No, there's no chance.
Kenny, what do you think?
Not coming off of a game like this, there's no chance.
Kenny, what do you think?
I think Porto wins 2-0.
Okay. And Benfica goes or plays at home against Portimonense, who is last in the standings, with 8 points, 6 goals scored, 12 goals conceded.
4-0 Benfica. 4.
Okay. Oscar?
2-2.
You're such a realist. 2-2, wow.
Jay, what do you think the result will be?
I hope you guys get fucking smashed, but I could see the way you guys are playing and Darwin sucks. I see 1-0 lucky game for you guys. PK probably late.
Yeah.
Pizzi can score. Pizzi can score. Just remember,
he might be back. He might be back by then.
He might be back.
It depends when he tested positive. They need to have 10 days. So if he tested positive, I think it was on Tuesday. No, I don't think it'll be 10 days yet.
Yeah, so we're fucked. So 2-2.
Yeah, I guess.
Dude, I honestly don't think Porto Benfica lose another game until we play again in January.
I mean, that's not very far away. I mean, Benfica's got how many games between now and then? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. I hope we don't lose again before that.
There's not much parity in our league this year. It's really just 3 teams, and it will end up being 2.5 again.
Don't dismiss Braga. Braga's playing really good ball.
Dude, they don't score enough though. You got to score goals in this league. They don't score enough.
You sure about that?
Yeah, look at it. They don't score enough. I think they have like some of the least goals for, and they're doing well goals against, but they don't score enough.
They have 17.
They have 17
goals scored. Yeah. But in comparison to Porto, Benfica, Sporting, they're well off. 6-7 goal difference. But they've also conceded less than all of us, except Sporting.
Boys, I gotta head out, but Jay, congratulations. Good win today, and
It's just another Porto Benfica game in your lifetime that Benfica loses. It's just normal for you guys now at this point.
at this point, it sure is. It definitely doesn't make me merry for the holidays, but hey, happy holidays and enjoy, fellas.
You too.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Take it easy.
With that, we're going to sign off. So, again, don't forget to check us out on Facebook. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Like the page on Facebook. We have an account on Instagram. We're all on Twitter as well. Check out our website, ucantinhabenfiquista.com. Thank you, everyone who was in the comments. Thank you, everyone who's followed the page. Wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Don't eat too much. I guess you can eat a lot. It's Christmas. Stay safe. Boys, pleasure always chatting with you guys about a little bit of footy. Unfortunately, the result wasn't in our favor. It was in Jay's favor. Any last thoughts?
Like always.
Luis Natal Agripino.
Yeah.
Well, guys, 2:00 in the morning. He's up. He's watching us. I love
Seriously. I know. We'll be back next week. Benfica plays Portimonense on Tuesday. We'll look to do one on Tuesday night. Until then, again, Merry Christmas and have a good night. See
Cheers,
you, boys.
boys.